What's going on, guys? It is Laser here with the weekend analysis. I hope you guys are doing wonderful. What a week that was, actually. I'm here to actually review and give you my analysis as to what's going on with NIO. I haven't actually had a chance to take a look at this until now. We're going to try and dive deep, try and understand what's going to happen and predict for next week. If you watched my last week's videos, we were looking at like this kind of trend. We got that fake breakdown and we had some bounces here actually. Now we are getting that breakdown again actually, which is concerning. But let's try and keep it as unbiased as we can. We'll just try and look at velocity and analysis. One of the options that I tweeted about as a possibility is if this doesn't take off, you get the retest rejection, which would look like that. It would not look pretty. There's potential for that to happen. There's also potential, again, you see something similar like this, where it breaks back above and we're back in game. So it's choppy. Price action is super choppy actually, because we haven't actually had a clear trend here. This was the most concerning point here for me, for NIO. Let's just peek here. I believe it made like a double top right there. And it did so like on lower velocity, which is usually a topping formation of like buyers saying, we're being tapped out for now, which means time for a pullback. That's what it could mean. Now, let's take a look real quick here at some trend lines. We've got our velocity indicator on the 2 hours. Now, I will say before I go dive deep, just to kind of calm you guys down, things still look super bullish on the 24-hour time frame. Bigger time frames trump smaller time frames. So we are looking beautiful. Even like down here, we've actually got that velocity break actually here, which still represents, as you can see here, it represents this. So we've got this trend here and it's a break. As you can imagine, usually when you see a break, okay, what you tend to see is the price rise into right up into that trend line. It gives you a pullback before it kind of does this. And so there's our break, right? It wants to attack and get higher here actually. But man, NIO is a beast of its own. I've been humbled by it like week over week with how hard it is to kind of track. There's so much retail in here. I think it's a golden gem. I think this thing can squeeze, but you know what? It's going to be one of those patient plays. You don't want to be watching the price action too heavily on a day-to-day basis. You will go crazy. I've been tuning out of price action, intraday price action, as much as I could, because especially with NIO, it's been kind of tough to follow along. Now, again, we've got our break and that retest here. And so if I were to smoothen that out here, we have that coming down and it's going to be coiling, something along the lines of that, right? We've got a nice coil here. I've seen it on many other stocks. This is still in play, but the 2-hour time frame, which we're going to go back in here, is slightly concerning. Now, I'm just thinking perhaps it's trying to fill this gap here. It left a gap. Gaps are always intentional. And especially with NIO, you see them get traded. So you might just see that gap fill into next week, which is kind of like an ugly gap fill, but I mean, it could want to go there, reset, and then things take off again. I hate that it's like this, but there's still time for the month of July. I think the month of July is going to be explosive. It's dancing right on that golden pocket, actually, as you guys can see here. And it gets kind of weird right in this zone. This zone is super weird. You can just kind of see it. It tends to come there, but it tends to just like bounce once it kind of gets down there. So it's a pretty good value buy right now. But again, let's look at the 2-hour time frame here. Let's see if we can really kind of pin down what the heck's going on here. I've always liked that it started an uptrend. I like that. Okay. I like that it's still supporting that uptrend, which is good. Now we did get a bit of a break, but we've seen this before many times before where the velocity breaks down. Where did we see it? Well, we saw it right here. Broke down right here, and then it broke back up. Now, we've got the velocity breaking down. There's going to be a retest. And for whatever reason, NIO, anytime it's getting right up in this zone right here, it just doesn't want to break through it. So it's where is it? It's like this is such a big level here, like 470, 475. You can see it just doesn't want to get past that level. But when it does, I think things will eventually go. Eventually, you can see it's knocking on that resistance. Now, are you going to get a potential bigger retrace? It's a possibility here, guys, and that's just the nature, man, of the game. Things get messy before a big move. You're always going to get things are going to get super messy. You gotta hang tight in there if you're looking to kind of capture a bigger move. And I know most people are trying to capture that bigger move. I do have bigger targets that I am looking into for NIO. So again, let's see if we can do that, right? I'm trying to just do this. It's still good, you guys. It might just want to look for that trampoline bounce. Like, will it gap fill if it gets there? It might. I left the gap right up here too, actually, on the upside at 518. It's exhausting when I look at this, when I look at the price action here. It's so exhausting. But again, I will say this. This is bullish right here. You see this? And you see this? We've got a higher high now. So it's in an uptrend right now. And despite it like kind of, coming down and potentially making that lower low here, it's got space to kind of do this and rip. And we're above the 200-day moving average. And anytime that's the case, things can look really exciting. And I've always said this before, but when that move comes, it could literally be technically you could see it next week. Like, that's how freaking close this is. Let me see if I can draw a trend here. See, I can draw how this converges. You don't want to see this break. It's in this nice little uptrend. What are we looking at here? July 31st. I mean, that still fits within our July timeframe, right? Like, if this thing is going to kind of keep us on the toes right until the end of July, I think that's where it's going to do it, right at the end of the month. Things will go crazy. Let's see. Does that actually, you can even do it like this. I mean, if I were being a little bit more conservative, first week of August. Now, if this breaks, let's just say it breaks. It does this, okay? We get some nasty price action. There still will be the retest. But the bias flips to like short until like you get like... And when I say short, I mean, it just means a bigger pullback. It's so hard to say, man. Like, I think patience is having patience and waiting for the move is one of the hardest things in trading. And from what I see, this thing already has broken out from a velocity standpoint of view. And it's just like, it's messing with everybody's emotions. Mind you, none of this is like, has anything to do with technical. I think it's like psychological here at this point. It's just messing with people here at this point. This is just messing with people. Only matter of time. I mean, like, earnings, if it maintains on this trend line, it would literally only need to get above 365, which is like, I mean, do some math here, guys. Like, it's, unless you get some really bad news, this thing's gonna break out. And when it breaks out, you will get that big move. right? These are your moves. Golden retrace 1185. You know, 849, 850, $9, $10. I wish I can give you some more insight into this, but like aside from like going into like the hourly, maybe I can do the 30-minute. Just it's difficult. Super difficult. It could run next week. It could. I don't know if I can give you any new insight because like you got to think like there's not much information I'm given here on NIO. So let's go ahead and look at like the Hang Seng to actually take a look to see where things are on the Hang Seng actually. So it broke up, came back down. The best time to get long a stock is when it reaches the support trend line. And that's beautiful, right? And you can see here, it's forming a bullish divergence right here. That's bullish. And look, right at the end of the month, July 30th, this thing is also breaking out July 30th. To be honest, I think like Hang Seng will probably give you that lift and bounce. It's right there. It'll retest 17,800. You'll get a nice lift actually here. And if things want to just run and rip from tomorrow, it could. It easily can give you that explosive move because it's got the setup, the Hang Seng. We're going to look real quick here at the... so this is what I was always predicting is that it would kind of break down and kind of give you that test into 422. Now, what do I see from a velocity standpoint of view? I like what I see. If you're a bull, you would really like that. Like that is really good. Right? It's starting to trend down. Dixie's starting to break down too. I've been talking about the Dixie. Dixie's been, I mean, it did give you that lift. And I tweeted about this, and it did exactly what I said it was going to do to a freaking T. The big X factor is looking into crypto, because crypto tends to like give you the hint, price and hints. You get that double bottom. It came up here, broke down again, and broke up. So this right now, short term, bullish. Now you're looking at like things like the SPY is breaking down, the Qs are breaking down. I think they're heavily oversold, and they're massively due for a bounce here actually. Like they've reached some pretty like low levels. What did it freaking bounce off here? Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I mean, it's not just NIO now. Like you've got like the entire like broad market is taking a bit of a pullback and a bit of a hit, which is a pretty like this is a sizable pullback. When's the best time to get long, you guys? Somebody tell me. The best long opportunities are when it comes and approaches a trend line. Like it might not be perfect, but we're getting damn close there. And you can see from a velocity standpoint of view, you got like these wicked bounces right at these levels. Like it's very rare that you saw it sell off this bad. VIX. Yeah, VIX went crazy. Absolutely mental. But again, I think it's due for a bounce, everything. Crypto's telling you that there's an appetite for risk on. And I know I said, like, I'll own up to that. I know I said I was bearish on crypto. I was definitely wrong. I did tweet about that. I was talking about at what point did I flip? It was right over here when it hit above 64, and I'll show you why. Was it here that I flipped? When did I flip? No, I flipped. This is when I flipped. I remember. I flipped from bullish to bearish. Was it like this? Yeah, I was looking at this. I'm pretty sure this is what I was looking at. And I was like, I think it might like reject. Like I think the the bears might be control, and I was like, oh, if it gets over 64, and it did hit 65, and it's above this trend line, and again, like this becomes a very bullish setup for crypto, right? And this is kind of what you want to see also with NIO. You want it to come down, give you that retest, boom. This is a bullish like trend in my opinion, although that's bearish looking. You can see that the velocity on that move is bearish, but again, we're gonna have to wait to see where things kind of pan out. I wish I can give you guys more better direction here. I will give you this. It's still bullish on the 24-hour time frame. All right. And we got a gap to fill. Like if you didn't sell up here at $5 and it's going to come down back down to 4, you know this is actually like a pretty good support area. Like this zone right here is a really good strong zone for it to bounce. So if it does give you that bounce here, no fret. I'm convinced that like there's a lot of buyers that are going to be coming in and buying up there. Worst case scenario, by the way, you guys. This is a worst case scenario. Let's see. Yikes. I don't want to freak you out, but like it's a possibility that you see the lows get taken out right there. Right? You could. This is a worst case. I'm not even anticipating that. I still think things are super bullish. But I don't want to actually like not leave out that scenario, because if you don't actually break back out above, like if this doesn't break back above this trend line here, it's so critical for it to kind of get back up there. It can still come down, but you need it to come back and reclaim. And I think that's what it's going to do. I think you're going to get some manipulation. You might even see it come down, take the lows out, give you a little deeper trace to 4, and you get that violent retrace. Again, I bring you guys back to the Chinese equity market. The Hang Seng was breaking out, and then it pulled back, right? I don't know why this is looking wonky. Where's my trend? Baba was looking beautiful, came back, and let's do all our favorites, right? K-Web, right? Same garbage, okay? Okay, so get it out of your head that like this NIO is gonna go to 0 bullshit. I see that in my feed sometimes, and people are saying it's gonna go all the way down. Get that out of your head. This thing is flowing with the Hang Seng, and there is something in the back pocket. I know the Chinese officials. There's been discussions about stimulus, so if that does come out, that would be exciting. There's the whole talks with Biden and Trump and the Taiwan like geopolitical tensions, but I think that's all short-term noise. This thing will move. What's another one? I think it's Baidu. This one was really like messed up too. Like, guys, it's not. You guys are not alone, NIO. And neither is like the stock market. You look, even Microsoft, Meta. Things are going to be bouncing though. This is not going to go straight down in a line like that. It just ain't going to happen like that. It won't go down like that. You're going to get that pump. It's coming. Let's see where Apple. I mean, I don't know why I'm stopping on Apple here, but I can kind of see like where the longs kind of come in. Right around here, and you got that higher high, that higher low. It's gonna bounce. That's what I think. There you go. That's my analysis. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up. And again, if there's anything you guys don't want to forget, is have a great weekend. Don't let the stocks kind of control your life. Set alerts. And then just walk away from your PC. You don't need to be watching the price action on a day-to-day basis. Just realize, in order to catch a big move on NIO, it has to get messy. It's gonna get messy before it's gonna get like beautiful. And this is the messy, choppy price action that we're seeing here. And so you got to kind of have, if you want to be a winner, and you want to win on a really big trade like NIO, you got to have patience, and you got to sit through some of this choppiness and not follow the day-to-day price action, and just I mean, again, trade your own plan. But I believe, if in order for you to not get faked out and to kind of catch a really big move, you got to sit back and ride the waves, and just realize it's going to get messy. It's going to get a little bloody before things kind of rip and go crazy. So I'll leave you with that. I'm not looking, by the way, at this worst case scenario at all for NIO. Not at all. Not yet, at least. There's still so much here. And I'll use Tesla. Before I go, I did this last time, but I wanted to compare Tesla. I think, like, Tesla, again, everybody was calling for Tesla to, like, crash, and what did it do? It's nearly doubled from the bottom and from the lows, right? And even here, people are like, oh, fake news on the Chinese AI. It was all FUD. That's 2 months of consolidation before it exploded. And NIO's like right at that area. Like, NIO is like nonstop consolidation, and this thing is ready to break, man. Like, it's just a matter of time. And it's not going to be alone. NIO, like, it's not going to be alone. NIO will not be alone. It's going to bounce with Baba. It's going to bounce with K-Web. It's going to bounce with Baidu. The Chinese equities, along with the Hang Seng, will have their light and time to shine. And it might just be next week. The Hang Seng has that set up. The broad market's extremely oversold. You're going to get a dead cat bounce. Everything's going to lift and bounce. I'm not even concerned about that. So, again, if you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give me the thumbs up. And if you have any questions, drop it in the comment section below. And if you want to follow me, I sometimes, tweet about, some stocks and on X. But that's it. That's all. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful weekend.